Hello, we're in the middle of July. Jumper, woolly hat. Should be in shorts and t-shirts now, but it is what it is. We've had a crazy year and it's just cold, everything's sulking. You know, things like courgettes and aubergines and sweetcorn, anything that wants heat is not getting it. It's just everything's sulking. And the weather's been really bad. It's been cold, drizzly, rainy. Well, at least we've not had to do any watering apart from the greenhouse. But yeah, it's been a horrible July. And it doesn't look like it's going to get any better. A few things are going over, like lettuces and things, but most things are in a low gear and they're just not moving. I'm not going to bore you with going around and looking at things that aren't doing well. But yeah, the first couple of weeks of July have been absolutely abysmal. Let's hope it improves. Hello, we've had a heat wave and things seems to be moving up a gear again, but everything is just been on a go slow. The outside tomatoes have ripened eventually, but when it had that cold spell, the top looks a bit dead. So I think these have had it. This one is still going, but the other two look like they've had it. So I'll harvest what's on there and I think that'll be the end of them. But the courgettes and other things are really disappointing because things just keep going in and eating them. This was fine 2 days ago, as was this one. I thought, well, I'll come back in a couple of days and pick them. And something has had a go at that. Something's had a really good go at that. Normally I wouldn't bother with ones like this. They would just go in the compost. But this year, we're that desperate that I will take anything, even those manky bits. I'll cut off the manky bits and use what's there because there isn't a lot going. These sweet corn, these should be a lot bigger and they're not looking too happy. Well, you know, they're green and growing, but very slowly. I deliberately didn't mulch around them, thinking that the weed fabric would keep them a little bit warmer. It's only 1 or 2 degrees, but it'll make a difference. Every little helps. See what the weather's like in a couple of days. I think if we start getting a reasonable bit of sunshine, then I think I'll mulch the sweet corn. A few little weeds are coming up. And our friend Bindweed has managed to find a little, but it's, you know, just one little bit in there. A couple of bits on the other side. Whereas before it used to be around every sweet corn. I had to go in and unwrap it from every single sweet corn. And the weed fabric seems to have stopped that, so that's a good thing. And my one remaining sunflower, see, it's taller than me, and it's got a little head on it. So after all my efforts, I might get one sunflower. At least it's something. And I brought in these to plant, and I just put them in the cage to harden off for a couple of days. Hardly anything left, nothing but stumps mostly. Pretty slugs. They're eating everything this year. I don't mind losing the old one, but when they mow everything down, it's just like disheartening. And the only thing that's growing is weeds. And you weed, you come in, you weed, you come in, you weed, you come in, you weed, and you keep going back home empty-handed. The freezer looks grim. There's nothing in it. Should be about half full by this time of the year, but there's nothing in it. I had the garlic in that end of this bed, and I was going to plant some brassicas in here, but the slugs ate those, so I thought, well, I'll plant some overwintering brassicas, and the slugs ate those. So I've got nothing to go in there, and this bed is still quite clumpy and has a lot of, it is quite clayey, and despite the fabric, Bindweed wriggles around and it finds where there are holes in the fabric and works its way through. And it's coming in from the other side, so you can see there's the edge of the cold frame. And all this stuff is coming in from that side. So it's going to be a never-ending battle with the bindweed on this cold frame. But I think what I'll do, just pile any sort of bits of rhubarb and other bits and pieces of leaves and things and leave it over winter, so that that'll get worked into the ground by the worms, and if you get things like the guinea pig manure and things, I'll add a bit of that, because it's all down here. I mean, you can see it's all right, but it's still quite clayey. It's still quite clayey. But I don't want to put too much on, because obviously then it becomes the perfect habitat for slugs. There's the coal frame. You can see the edge of it. And on the other side is Tony's compost heap under the bindweed. That's his compost heap. So I'm going to have problems with slugs and bindweed, but I'll make the best of what I can. And the slugs have done the new trick of eating the silks off the sweet corn. So I've lost a few, and I don't know whether they've been pollinated or not, because they grew very slowly when we had that cold spell, and they just sat there. But now they seem to be going off again. But the slugs have eaten some of the tassels, so I don't know what's going to happen. All I can do is just look after the sweet corn and hope for the best, really. Hope that enough of it has been pollinated. We'll see. We'll only know at harvest time what happens. Right, I've got this barrel of tree clippings, and it's got a few little sticks in there, but it was mostly leaves, and I put it in this barrel to store it. So it's started to rot down and go brown, but that's fine, so that'll go in. And then I've got some rhubarb leaves and things as I've been clearing the rhubarb, so that'll go in, and then hedge trimmings and a few other bits and pieces will go on top, and then it can rot down over winter. And I think I will put peppers in here next year, and it's starting to rain, I think. Typical. So I'll do that. Well, it's another nice day. It's sunny on this side, but there's dark clouds over there, so we'll see which one wins. So I put those tree cuttings and rhubarb leaves and spread it as best I could. And there's other stuff like celery that's gone to seed and things that I really don't want. That metal is there for the moment, just as somewhere to put it. It's not there for any other reason, and I'll eventually get around to using that. So I've got this stuff, and I'll add a few other bits and pieces as I pull things that go to seed and old lettuce and things. And then I've got this bag of coffee chaff, but I won't put it on now because it'll blow all over the place. There's a slight breeze, even that will go all over the place. So I'll wait till I've put a few more leaves and things on this bed, and then I will put that coffee chaff on it, a layer of cardboard, just before it rains, and then that should hold it in place, and then just leave it for the winter. I was thinking of putting winter lettuce in this bed, but the way the slugs are eating everything in sight, I don't think it's worth doing, because I'm just feeling the slugs. They're just eating everything in sight. I brought in some more seedlings. There's a nasturtium that's self-seeded in there, so I've left that. Brought some kale, lettuce and spinach. I've left them to sort of acclimatise a little bit to the wind, as they've been indoors all the time. So when we get a couple of cool days, I'll transplant those, if the slugs haven't eaten it by then. We'll see what happens. Hello. We've had some nice days the last few days, and I haven't been able to get here. And today, when I come in, it was nice earlier, but look what's behind me. But I think I will do a bit of watering, because although it looks cloudy, I don't think it's going to rain enough to water everything. So I'll have to water everything, do a bit of weeding as usual. And I was looking at the carrot buckets and thinking these aren't germinating very well. And look at Matey. He's actually just turned around, but I turn the bucket around, you can see him better. Well, he's about to have a bad day. This one's poor. These are all poor. But this one, there's nothing in it. And that's the reason. The little buggers are everywhere. But yeah, again, as usual, nothing exciting, just watering and weeding. So I'll get on with that.